Ledger just launched the Nano Gen5, adding a brand new budget wallet to their lineup. But is it worth the upgrade? At first glance, it basically looks exactly like a Stax, but there's a few key differences you need to know. Here you can see Ledger's full product lineup in clarity. For a while now, it's been the Nano S Plus and the Nano X that have been the budget options. But as you can see with the Gen 5, they're definitely going for a bigger touchscreen version. Ledger's labeling the Gen 5 as a budget wallet, but for $179, it's really hard to argue that way. The Nano S Plus was just recently reduced in price to $59, and the Nano X is $149. One can assume that they're going to reduce the price of the Nano X as well. There's a $150 difference between the Flex and the Stax, and I'll be the first person to admit, Ledger probably doesn't want me to tell you this, but they do admit it themselves. The Flex and the Stax are basically identical. The only difference is the side label, and I think it's just a slightly bigger screen and it's magnetic. The Flex, in my opinion, is the premium device. Between the Gen 5 and the Flex, there's only a $70 difference, and we'll see that the materials are very different between these two devices. And I have to mention, with the Flex, you get all these awesome colors, but right now with the Gen 5, you only get it in black. And we've seen Ledger make colors in every single device they've made so far. I mean, just look at this. We have all these options here, except for the Stax, I guess, but we have all these options with the S Plus, and we also have all these options with the X. I would expect and assume that Ledger will also make colors in the future of this device too. We really need to compare the Gen 5 with the Flex because there are some very key differences that might make you buy one or not. They're both touchscreens, and on top of that, when we scroll down, we can see that they're exactly the same size screen too. One difference is the glass, where we have Gorilla Glass in the Flex, but scratch resistance glass in the Gen 5. The resolution is also significantly lower at 300 by 400 pixels. But in the Flex, we get 480 by 600, and that's what gives it this like ultra clarity. The display is also made of e-ink, but if you're not storing and displaying NFTs like this, you don't really need to worry about the screen too much. Ledger's whole push here is with the screen, specifically with the secure touchscreen. They have this concept of clear signing. Ledger's secure touchscreens show every detail, i.e. amount, address, permissions in clear human readable language directly on a larger display that you can trust. No guesswork, no blind signing. On the Nano X and the S Plus, you're only going to get a 1-inch screen, and it's extremely hard to see. These smaller Ledger devices also have an OLED display, which is a bit harder to read, especially with the 128 by 64 pixel screen. Now, to me, the biggest difference here is what material is your device made of. So we know the screen is already lower resolution, it's lower quality, but we also find that the body is plastic. Now, there is nothing wrong with plastic, but plastic devices should be cheaper because they are easier to get damaged and to bend. One thing I absolutely love about the Flex, it's got metal on metal. So it's got aluminum on aluminum, and only the back, and you can hear that hollowness, right? Only the back is made of plastic. But on the Gen 5, the entire thing is plastic. It's gonna be extremely light, 46 grams instead of 58. So it will feel exactly like the Stax. And we can see the battery usage is the same on the Flex, Stax, and Gen 5. Now, if you look at the picture of the Gen 5, one small thing that bothers me a bit is this giant hole on the bottom right corner of the device. And a better look from behind, you can clearly see that that's a hole. There's a reason why that hole is there, and that is for these badges. Now, when I first looked at the device, I thought it was like a little digital display in the corner where you could put any logo or symbol you wanted. That would be awesome if, like, say I have my digital screen, and then on here on the bottom you also have a little spot you can put your logo, your design, whatever it is, to mark your device, right? It's cool, but it's not. These badges are being sold separately, so you don't even get one for some reason, and they are $19 US each. 19 for a pack of 3. Now, my biggest question was, what are these made of? If these are also made of plastic, like, it would cost pennies, literally pennies to make them. Thankfully, they're made of aluminum, but aluminum is not that expensive. So who's gonna buy these pins for $19? Especially, I know I'm being harsh, especially when these devices aren't even brand logos. You want a frog with a crown, a cherry, an 8-ball? Do you want a horseshoe, ice cream, trying to be Pikachu, beer, and a hammer? Who are these pitched to? Because in my opinion, don't take this the wrong way. When I used to be a teacher, I would buy these as stickers for my kids to reward them for doing well. They tried to push that it's made by a legendary graphic designer that I've never heard of. No offense, I'm sure you're great. Named Susan Kerr, and apparently she used to like work for Apple or something, like Tony Farrell, who designed the Stax. But $19, I don't know. This whole tangent is because if you don't buy one of these, what are they called, badges, you have a hole in your wallet, a super annoying hole that you can't fill unless you buy one. What if you don't want to use it? Also, why can't you just upload your own logo and have it printed by Ledger, pay a slightly higher price, and then they send it to you with the device? That would be super cool and customizable. Why can't we have different color pins? Why can't we customize our logos? Inside the box will come with the device, a USB-C to C cable, 3 recovery sheets, and then you also get the Ledger Recovery Key, which isn't included with an X or an S Plus. The Gen 5 connects via Bluetooth or Type-C cable. Gen 5 also has NFC, which we don't see in the S Plus and the Nano X. And this is to connect to Ledger Recovery Key and to use as a security key, so you don't need to use passwords. You can literally tap your device on your phone to log into Google, to log into Twitter, and other websites. As for setup, we're going to be writing down our seed phrase, but you're also going to get one of these things. I don't know if you can see it clearly in the light. So this is the Ledger Recovery Key. And essentially, once you write down your seed phrase, you're going to tap this bad boy on the back. This has an EAL secured element chip inside it, which is awesome. And that will store your seed. This is another key. You should have your seed phrase and another key. So you could put this somewhere else or decide if you even need it. But it's great that we have the option to spread our backups, and it's much, much easier. Trust me, it's so much easier and actually more secure because you don't have to write down the words. You don't have to hide it from eyesight. It is made of plastic, so it's not as strong as like a metal backup, but it does the job. And for security, we get the EAL 6 Plus secure element chip. It's great that Ledger includes the make here, so we can look it up. But do remember that Ledger is not fully open sourced because of this chip. They need to sign an NDA agreement. So every single Ledger device is 95% open sourced. And it also rocks the Ledger OS, which is their own custom operating system, which is how the apps are downloaded. Ledger's target here has to be Nano S Plus users and Nano X users. They list in their article that there's a 20% upgrade program. If you prove you bought an S Plus or an X, you can upgrade to a Gen 5, Flex, or Stax, all at that 20% off deal. That's actually pretty good if you have an older device that's been sitting around and you've been wanting to upgrade it. And Ledger actually addresses the difference between the budget devices themselves. While the Ledger Nano S Plus and Ledger Nano X remain the dependable classics for users who want to focus on secure simplicity and mobility with their digital assets, it carries the same uncompromising security into a new era of clarity, connectivity, and touch. Now, say you finally want to upgrade and you have to choose basically between the Gen 5 and the Flex. With the Gen 5 being such a high starting cost compared to the Flex, I think it's worth just paying more for the Flex for the build quality and the screen quality. But if you don't have the extra cash, just know you're still going to get the same exact security that's in all devices and Ledger Wallet as well. Another important note here that was made extremely small on the bottom is shipping time. Now, I saw it's supposed to ship on October 31st, but if you read the small print, it says Ledger Nano Gen 5 is available for pre-sales only, subject to FCC approval, expected no earlier than 7 days after the government shutdown ends. Then expect a further 12 days to deliver your item. If authorization is not granted, we will refund the order per our policy. FCC rules don't cover consumer protection. And what Article 8 says is you basically have 14 days to withdraw. But anyways, I'm excited to get my hands onto this device. I'm excited to see how the plastic compares to the Flex and the Stax, as well as how smooth the device is itself. And the minor thing, of course, is the little badge in the bottom right-hand corner. Is the hole annoying? Well, I don't have the device yet, so I don't know. One thing I can say with 100% certainty is that this device will be a way better experience than the S Plus and the Nano X. The bigger, clearer screens are just so much easier to use. And I will say that there is nobody in this industry that has the build quality of Ledger. If you want to pre-order one, you can use my link below in the description and comments. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one. Ledger has now changed the word hardware wallets to signers. And Ledger wants to be clear that they have changed the name of their app from Ledger Live to Ledger Wallet. So this one is no longer a wallet, it's a signer. And the app is no longer live, it's a wallet.